When I first got married 7 years ago, I had a completely different vision of what it meant to have a cozy home. On my days off from work, no doubt you could likely find me at the home decor shops. I felt that if I could just add more throw pillows and more candle holders and lanterns to my already overstuffed collection, then my home would finally be warm and inviting. But it actually wasn't until I implemented minimalism into my life and removed all the junk that my home finally felt cozy. We've had a few small gatherings in our home recently, and each time, someone has commented that our home feels cozy. At first, I figured it's because my husband loves to be our personal barista and treat our guests to lattes, Americanos, and teas. And who doesn't love a good warm drink over friendly chit-chat? But it made me stop and reflect on what has actually made a difference in making my home feel cozy. Because ironically, when I spent my days roaming the aisles of home goods, my home felt disorganized and chaotic. And even though we didn't even have kids then, the 3-bed, 2-bath home that we rented felt small. Probably because I stuffed clothes in every single one of those 3 closets. True story. We now live in a smaller home with 2 kids, and I've been pleasantly surprised to find that the things that made the biggest impact in making our home cozy were either free or under $50. So today I'll be sharing with you 10 minimalist tips to make your home cozy on a budget. And I use the word minimalist because hands down, it was minimizing and decluttering my possessions that provided the space for the things that I most enjoy and value. But in this video, I'll mainly be sharing with you things that you can change or add to your space. For more videos specifically on the topic of decluttering, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss any upcoming videos as well as videos that I've already made on the topic. Also be sure to stick to the end for my bonus tip that changed not only how I view my space, but oddly, how I view myself as well. It's good, don't miss it. First step is to use warm lighting and automatic lighting whenever possible. In a recent conversation with a friend, she mentioned that sunrise and sundown are the most beautiful time of day. I wholeheartedly agreed, and I think that this is because of the warm lighting. And it's no wonder that we try to mimic this in our own homes through things like fires, candles, and warm bulbs. There's something romantic and cozy about warm light. And we can certainly tell the difference in bright overhead office lights as compared to a gentle flicker of a candle. If you enjoy candles, the gentle flicker can add some warmth to the room. But just swapping your lamp bulbs to a warm color can make a big difference. We have had a set of LIFX smart bulbs for about 3 years now, and I love that I can set schedules for them. As my wake-up call, they automatically turn on in the mornings, and they dim and turn off on their own at night as a cue to slow down. We also have some under-cabinet lighting. This particular brand is not one of my favorites, but it is rechargeable, which is something that I love. It's magnetic, so it basically just has stickers on the top, and I can recharge it. So it has an automatic setting, so if somebody gets up in the middle of the night to get some water, let's say you have people over, it just automatically turns on, or you can just leave it on. Again, this brand is not one that I absolutely love, but it is something that I always make sure to have charged and on when I have people over because it just looks so much more inviting. I personally love candles, but I like to have the non-toxic version and they can be a little bit more pricey. So I didn't feel like constantly buying these items. So what I did is purchase battery-operated candles that have a timer, and I purchased rechargeable batteries. So basically I recharge the batteries like twice a month and they automatically turn on and off all on their own in the evenings. Every time we've had people over in the evenings, they make some comment about how the home feels cozy, and I hands down think it's because of our use of warm lighting. By the way, if you're curious about any of the products that I show or mention throughout this video, I'll leave links to as much as I can down in the description box, but I'm not sponsored by any of the companies that sell these products. These are just things that I've purchased with my own money that I've just happened to like. Number 2 is to clear flat surfaces. I could probably make an entire video on this topic, so I'll try not to ramble too much here. Clear open spaces make a room feel larger and more like a retreat rather than a workshop. So for example, the kitchen, the heart of the home. Consider decluttering large unused appliances, such as that juicer you've rarely used, or that KitchenAid mixer that's become more of a decoration. You can sell or donate your larger appliances that you haven't used, and one of the things that I have also loved to do is to find ways to store things inside of drawers or within cabinets. For example, downsizing your cooking spoons to your most used will allow you to place them in a smaller drawer. You can also have an in-drawer knife holder rather than on your counter, or eliminate your dish rack that goes over your counter and get a small in-sink one, or just 2 like we do and don't even have one at all. You could also declutter your spices to your favorites and place them in a drawer or a cabinet. I've seen this done beautifully. Personally, I like our spice rack handy because I use it almost daily, and I like the way it looks. But look at your counters and find what items you never use that you can declutter, and then go from there to find in-cabinet or in-drawer solutions for the rest. Also, go through every single flat surface on your home looking for knickknacks that don't really have any sentimental value for you. Sometimes the smaller items can be a lot easier to accumulate because we think that they don't really make much of a difference. But just for a moment, pretend that your home is a getaway retreat and ask yourself this question. If my home was a getaway retreat, what items would it have? And hopefully this question can help you kind of figure out what are some of those things that you can get rid of to make more room for the things that you do value the most. Eliminating all those items that are just adding extra clutter will make those valued items stand out so much more. Number 3 is to eliminate visual clutter. Visual clutter is sneaky because we don't often notice it at first glance, but it's often hiding in so many different areas of our home. I actually have a separate video on 15 different ways that you can eliminate visual clutter, so I'll be sure to link that down in the description box below as well as at the end of this video, so check that one out after this one. Number 4 is to use natural woods. We human beings are a part of nature, and the beauty of nature is actually healing. I've read a study several times now, but I don't remember the source, and it basically compared ill patients in hospitals with similar conditions, and it tracked their healing, with the difference being that one group had a window view of nature and the others did not. The participants with the nature view had improved healing times as compared to the group that did not. Beauty is inspiring, and it's why people send flowers to loved ones when they're going through tough times or when somebody has passed. My husband loves woodworking, so we have a lot of natural woods in the home. But because I felt that to have a cozy home meant that I needed to buy more and to have more, I found myself constantly painting over them, placing knickknacks on them, or as the case of our dinner table, having all sorts of different placemats and table runners and knickknacks that I called decor. I had this phase where I wanted to chalk paint pretty much everything that I could get my hands on within the house, and I had this acacia wood mail holder that I painted blue. It wasn't until recently that I sanded it back to its natural state, and I've got to say it feels a lot cozier, and it's a way of bringing nature indoors. Number 5 is to add texture through fabrics. I am a lover of fuzzy throw blankets, so you'll always find a blanket lying around in pretty much every room in my house. Minus the kitchen and bathroom, of course, because that would just be plain weird. But using natural fabrics such as cotton, linen, wool, or even silk if you've got the budget for them, will give your home a much more luxurious feel. And if you choose a neutral tone, it can be the one and only set you ever need. If you use neutrals or whites, you can also play around with the textures. For example, our bed has different quilt patterns, but it still looks cohesive because of the neutral colors. This next one is definitely dependent on personal style, so take it or leave it. Use warm light colored paints for your walls and neutral tones for your decor such as woods, metals, and fabrics. And then add your colors strategically using a color palette. My walls are actually now ultra pure white from their previous blue-gray. I still love blue-gray walls, by the way, but our home just always seemed really dark and gloomy because the windows are away from the sun and it just rains all the time. And painting them white made it so much brighter. I actually never thought that I would like white walls, but I honestly don't think that I could ever go back, even though I do like colored walls, just because it reflects so much more light. But if you are a colored lover, you can keep your colored walls, but do kind of think about maybe making your decor have a color palette, that way it all looks cohesive. So for example, I love pinks and blues, but whereas before I might have had pink bedding and pink shower curtains, now I use these colors in just small pops around the home. Number 7 is to incorporate fragrance. Personally, I'm not one that likes to have like the bathroom sprays, scented candles, or just scented things in general in the house because they can be toxic, and often the non-toxic versions can be pretty pricey. So what I personally love to do is to use essential oils in my cleaners. For example, I use essential oils in my floor cleaners, and I also use them with Epsom salts to make my clothes soft and smell delicious. My favorite scent is eucalyptus because I just find it so relaxing and calming. And that's exactly the feeling that I want when I'm in my home. Just like some people have a signature scent as their perfume, your home can also have a signature scent, or maybe just a couple different ones that you trade out with the seasons. Number 8 is to use greenery and/or add fresh flowers. Plants add life to a space, and they create a feeling of nature that's just relaxing. But if you have dark spaces or you're not ready to start learning how to take care of plants, you can start off with the harder to kill plants like a snake plant, the pothos, or use faux plants sparingly. I have these faux plants in my office because it's a room that does not have any windows. You can add these sparingly to dark rooms, but make sure they're realistic looking because otherwise it's going to give the opposite effect of cozy. And if you've got a little bit of a budget for it, fresh flowers can of course add more beauty and life to a space. Number 9 is to add texture through rugs. At the stage of life that we're in with 2 small kids, I felt that it would be to my benefit to not worry about having a rug or a nice sofa for the moment being. But I am a big fan of rugs because they can help define a space and add warmth. For example, our home, the kitchen and living room are open. If we had a rug in the living room, it would more easily define that space. A rug can add texture, tie elements of the room together, or be a statement piece. I've definitely thought about getting a rug, like for the living room or for our kids' room, but I just don't feel like cleaning them. So realistically, it's probably not something that's gonna happen anytime soon, at least not in our near future. Number 10 is to declutter and move things around. If you're on a tight budget, decluttering will not only open up your space, making it appear bigger and brighter, but a huge bonus is that it will also allow you to clear up some space to move things around. And you also often end up with more bins or baskets that you can use in different spaces to better organize your space. For example, several years ago, I purchased these laundry baskets, but I do laundry pretty much every day or every other day, so I never use them. Instead of decluttering them, they became storage for bedding for when we have guests. This looks much better than having them randomly stashed in our closet. So just like I mentioned previously, when you declutter your kitchen gadgets, you're now then able to store things within your drawers, making your space feel bigger. Also, decluttering large pieces of furniture will allow you to have more space to move things around. Often just moving things around can refresh your space, and when you pair that with decluttering, it can make a big difference. My husband and I each had a shoe rack at one point, but we've now condensed our shoes down to one. Instead of getting rid of it, what I did was place it in our mudroom so that we have a nice, neat area to put our shoes in. And as a bonus, it also gave my kids a drop zone for all of their paper clutter from homeschooling. Some people might disagree with me, so take it or leave it. This is just what worked for me. But when I initially began decluttering and decluttered more and more, I initially didn't declutter my baskets and bins and storage stuff, because as I decluttered more, I found new solutions for other things that I could basically organize around the home. And the best part about this is that it's totally free because they're things that are already lying in your house that maybe just have a bunch of clutter now that you can organize in a different way, in a different location. And as a bonus for sticking to the end, I feel like you're not gonna like me for saying this one, but it's one that I haven't heard a lot of people talking about. And it's made a huge difference in how I view my home, especially when I have people over. And this is to declutter hidden spaces. Yep, I said it. That closet that you quickly stuff that broom in, hoping that nothing falls out in the process, your clothes closet, the junk drawer. You likely have a space that you know you would hope nobody ever sees if they come over. But as daunting as it might be, taking an entire day or even weeks to declutter the space can make a huge difference. And this is much bigger than just appearances. I can't remember why a guest followed me to my room one day. I think I was gonna give them something, but my closet and my bathroom door were both open. Before, that might have made me embarrassed, but now I didn't give it a second thought. I'll gladly show somebody my cupboard or my sock drawer. And I'm not saying that other people's perceptions of your space should be what guides your decisions, but there is an effect to having that closet that you hope nobody ever opens, or stuffing your stuff under the bed so that it's out of sight. It creates imposter syndrome about your tidiness. I think that imposter syndrome is something that we all experience when we're trying to create change in our lives. And if you've always told yourself the story, I'm messy or I'm unorganized, you have to create a new identity for yourself so that you begin to believe it. So when you're decluttering, you're almost symbolically speaking out positive affirmations like, I am tidy or I value organization. But because you know that no-touch closet is there, you affirm the opposite. Tackling hidden clutter can be very powerful because it's actually not about other people. It's about feeling proud of yourself for accomplishing that daunting task. It's about your confidence in this regard. I compare it to this. When I was a home nurse, I had worn out my shoes so bad that the insides were torn up, and I also wore worn out, ugly old socks that had holes on them. Frankly, I was just too cheap to replace them, but I didn't care because I figured nobody's ever gonna know. Until one day, I went to visit a patient on a rainy, muddy day, and I took off my shoes before entering their house. But the entire time that I was there, I hoped that nobody would look down at my feet or notice my shoes. Needless to say, even though I'm not a home nurse anymore, I always wear nice socks and I make sure that my shoes are clean and not tearing apart. And even if I never have another unexpected take off your shoes moment, it's now not going to be something that robs me of my energy that I could use towards positive, constructive thoughts. Decluttering a hidden space will give you that same I have clean socks feeling that I gained. Like a secret only you know about. Some people also like to have an empty shelf or a drawer in their home just for the sake of knowing that it's there. It's like a subliminal reminder of the change that you're making, your own secret confidence booster. So if you're up for the challenge, let me know down in the comments below. What is that hidden space that you will be challenging yourself to declutter? You've got this. Also be sure to share what are some of your favorite ways to make your home cozy. I'd love to learn from you. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you won't miss when I post a new video. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.